Welcome to Spyder Auto's step bar installation guide for the Chevy Colorado. Here we've laid out the contents of your step bar kit with everything positioned approximately where it's going to go. Take a look as we slowly pan over the components. Now here's an alternate view. We've mocked up the brackets fully assembled. We've got one facing up and one facing down so you can see how everything goes together. Before we get started, you'll need the following: a 14 and a 17mm socket and ratchet. We've laid out our brackets approximately where they'll go alongside of the truck. Let's start with the rear bracket. Looking up above the bracket, you can see these two holes. We're going to need to insert the U-bolt in through the hole and out the other side, like so. Now we'll grab that rear bracket and mount it onto the U-bolt studs. Then we'll go ahead and mount the bracket onto the studs using two large washers and then two 14mm nuts to hold the washers in place. It's a touch difficult to see here, but right now we've threaded the nuts onto the U-bolts. We're leaving them finger tight for now to allow room for adjustment later. Here's a view from the other side. Now we'll move on to the middle bracket. We'll need to locate these two holes, and as we did before, we'll be inserting the U-bolt through them. And then, like we did before, we'll mount the bracket onto the U-bolt studs and then secure the bracket to the U-bolt using two large washers and two 14mm nuts. It's a bit hard to see, but there we have it. Now let's go ahead and move to the front bracket. As we've done twice before, locate these two holes and run the U-bolt through them. And there we have it. Now we'll go ahead and mount the bracket. As we've done before, we'll mount the bracket onto the U-bolt studs with two 14mm nuts and two washers. Now we'll move back out from underneath the truck. Now we need you to locate two 14mm bolts, add the washer, and then add the clamp plate over the washer. Be sure that your clamp plate is grabbing the body panel rail. Then on the reverse side, we'll install a washer, a lock washer, and then a 14mm nut. Now for the second bolt. As before, produce a 14mm bolt and washer, insert those through the clamp plate, through the bracket, and then install another washer, a lock washer, and then another 14mm nut. Now we'll move down to the middle bracket. Now, as before, we'll need to locate two 14mm bolts. We're going to add a washer onto one of the bolts, and then insert that through the clamp plate, being sure that the clamp plate is grabbing onto the body panel edge like shown here. And then on the reverse side, we'll install a washer, a lock washer, and then install a 14mm nut. Now locate that second 14mm bolt, insert a washer, and then insert the bolt and washer through the clamp plate to the bracket's other side, then install a washer, a lock washer, and then a 14mm nut. We want our clamp plate to grab, but need to leave it about finger tight for now to allow room for adjustment later. Now onto the front. Once again, you'll need to locate two 14mm bolts and add a washer, then insert that through the clamp plate and through the bracket, being sure to grab onto the body panel rail as shown, and then install a washer, a lock washer, and 14mm nut on the reverse side of the clamp plate. Now for the other side, again, grab one of the 14mm bolts, add a washer, insert that through the clamp plate and through the bracket, then add a washer, a lock washer, and a 14mm nut onto the reverse side to secure the clamp plate so that it grabs the body panel rail as shown. And once again, remember, we're leaving everything hand tight for now to allow room for adjustments later. Now we need to take a step back. Take a look at where all of our brackets are positioned. Yours should look like this prior to mounting the bar. Now it's bar mounting time. If your step bars have the Spyder logo should be facing outward. Double check to ensure that you have the correct bar by making sure that the holes in both the brackets and the bar line up. The brackets and the bar line up, so we must have the right one. Now we're going to need to locate the 17mm bolts that came with your step bar. Install a lock washer and then a large washer, and then install the bolt into the step bar. As with the bracket bolts, these need to be left hand tight for now to allow room for adjustments. And there we have it. Now onto the middle bracket. Again, locate two 17mm step bar bolts, add a lock washer and then a washer, and then install them into the step bar. Leave them hand tight to allow room for adjustments later. Okay, and now for the rear. Grab another two 17mm step bar bolts, add a lock ring and then a washer over the lock ring, and then install the bolts into the step bars. And again, we need to leave these finger tight to allow room for adjustments. Now all the bolts are in, we need to adjust the step bar. Remember how we mentioned room for adjustment? Now notice that the step bar lines up with the bed and cab gap here. See how it lines up? Now it's time for the task of tightening it all down. Remember, all of our bracket hardware is 14mm. We're going to need to tighten down the 6 14mm clamp plate bolts and nuts, and also tighten down the 6 14mm bracket mounting nuts. Now we need to tighten down the 6 17mm step bar bolts. Okay, and that's got it. Let's take a step back. We need to check if the step bar is tight, so give it a few firm tugs to check. Congratulations, you've successfully installed the set of step bars on your Chevrolet Colorado. Videography, voiceover, and editing by Nitro Nick. For more information, visit www.spyderauto.com or find us on Facebook. Thanks for watching.